Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. What I'm going to do, Andy, are you okay to just give us a quick hello?
Yes. What?
Great.
Well, hello, everybody. Yeah. I hope it's hello or good morning. Good morning in Australia, and good afternoon in North America, and good evening in Europe. So, welcome everybody.
Okay, right. So this is the first time I've done this, so bear with me. What I'm going to do is share my screen quickly. Okay, so hopefully everyone should shortly be able to see that. It should say Clan Marjoribanks Society. Can someone give us a wave when they've seen it?
Still seeing your face.
Okay, my internet's a bit hamster powered, so let's give it a second. Nothing yet?
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
Great, okay, it's a good start.
This looks hopeful.
Yes, yes, something's happening.
Okay,
There we
good.
are.
It's doing something. Okay, we got there. Right, so don't worry, it's not a massive PowerPoint thing or anything. So I thought, first of all, let's do a quick run through. Welcome everybody, thank you very much for joining. In terms of agenda, notice that we'll do quick notices. Caroline, I know you want to go through a couple of things. And then move on to an introduction to the council members and let each of the council members tell us a little bit about themselves and about their role and what they feel they bring to the society, what want to get out of it. And then for today's meeting, I think it would be worth us all having a discussion and trying to understand what members actually want to get from being part of the society, what we can all bring to it as well. So very, very informal, this meeting, where the sort of our more formal meetings are the October ones, and this is more of a catch up. So Caroline, you want to talk about the Scottish Games? Are you on?
Thank you, Rachel. The Scottish Games will be held. Can everybody hear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Scottish Games will be held in Greenville, May 24th and May 25th. And historically, our group has participated in the march downtown in a parade. And we have a new chair of our parade this year, Susan Marjoribanks, the wife of Dean Marjoribanks. Then Saturday morning, we all meet after setting Kimberley and Mike and Carol set up the tent on the Furman University campus. And it's always a lot of fun to watch the games, to see the parades. And we have another parade there also that we participate in. To purchase tickets for that, you go on Gallifrey online, and we have a double tent. We've had a double tent for the last year, and we will have another one this year to accommodate the folks that come in. Carol prepares delicious refreshments, and Kimberly's spruces up decorations. Yeah, spruces up the tent with flags from various countries. So we have a lot of fun. And basically sit and watch the participants. Nobody has participated yet in the log toss. We're waiting on Kimberley to do that. We've enjoyed having Patricia and Stuart here, and Jonathan and Mary, and just various people come by, visit the tent, and see the information that Carol and Kimberley have produced and put out in the way of posters and notebooks. And we take memberships. So, Patricia, would you like to add anything about the games? You all have been there.
Oh, it was really spectacular. We were quite bowled away by them. Amazing. You know, we paraded around the grounds, and then there was there were balloons, and it was incredible. It was really wonderful.
It's quite
Amazing.
a celebration.
Yeah, you really did us proud. Very kind. Very
Kimberley,
welcome.
excuse me. Kimberley and Carol may have something to add as well.
Well, we always have a military tribute that's very special, and usually, weather permitting, we will have parachutists to come in carrying the flags, the U.S. flag, the Scottish flag, and they have a very nice military tribute, recognize all of the military personnel and veterans in attendance, and that makes it a very special time too. This is Memorial Day weekend that's celebrated here in the U.S.
And it's a great place for people to stop by if they're not familiar with the Marjoribanks clan. And, you know, we meet new family members sometimes there. So it really is a great place for U.S., you know, to promote U.S. membership.
And you were saying that's quite a good place for getting people to sign up and
Yes.
and getting the memberships out there.
Yes.
Good luck. Yeah, if you need anything to help with that, then let us know. Okay. There were no other notices, I don't think, unless anyone else wants to bring anything up. Okay. This is the list of council members, and I've asked everyone who's able to join the meeting to just say a little bit about themselves, their connection to the clan and interest in the society, what you see as the key functions of the role, and what you get out of being a member of the society. So I'll go first. For me, a little bit about me. Obviously, surname Marjoribanks, dad John, and mum Andrea, who are on call just now. My obviously interest in Marjoribanks is with dad's interest in family history. I've obviously heard a lot about the family, so I'm keen to sort of stay involved and promote us as a clan. In terms of, sorry, a little bit about me. I've got in terms of education, I'm an engineer by training, a chemical engineer. Following university, I joined the Royal Engineers, so British Army. Spent a little bit of time in various hot parts of the world, building things, which was very interesting. When I was in Afghanistan, I worked in a role of female engagement, which was trying to promote active involvement of local women in the economy and in society, which was we had mixed results on that one, I'll put it like that. Then after that, I left the army and worked for a long time as a project manager in manufacturing. So I've worked in oil and gas and in industrial manufacturing, and also in the defence industries. And I'm currently working for a company that makes compressors which go into refrigeration, hydrogen, heat pumps, lots of interesting newly developing technologies. So still very much an engineer in terms of what I do. What I see as my key function within the role is to act as that sort of coordinator and try and bring everyone together and make sure that we're heading forward and we have a clear path and what we're actually aiming to achieve as a society. And what I hope to get out of it is that worldwide connection with fellow Marjoribankses and people with an interest in the Marjoribanks clan. Lee, do we have you on the call? Nope. Caroline, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Okay. I am a native of Greenville, and I am Marjoribanks by way of my grandmother, Effie Marjoribanks Floyd, and I have two daughters, 2 sons-in-laws and 5 grandchildren, and 1 granddaughter has a fiance. We're looking forward to a wedding in May, a year from now. I finished college. I got a BA degree from Peabody, which is now Vanderbilt University, and became a mother after that, and then went to work with the county of Greenville as a deputy clerk in the courtroom. Worked with a lot of lawyers and a lot of the judiciary for 33 years. And when I retired from there, I became president of the Converse University Alumni Association, and I served on the campus in various roles for 20 years. My hope and my dream for the family is to expand our network, and not only expand our network, but increase our mutual support of one another in spite of the various locations in which we live. Growing up, the Marjoribanks family was very close and very mutually supportive. So my dream would be to see that grow within our current network and increase, of course, increase our membership.
Thank you. Kimberly, would you like to say a bit about yourself?
Most certainly. So I'm Kimberly Bruce. I am a native of Greenville, South Carolina. When I was young, my mother and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where I grew up most of my younger adulthood, but then I came back to Greenville in high school. And so I have an undergraduate degree in printing management, and then I have a graduate degree in business. And so my background working wise is in residential and commercial real estate, as well as printing. And so one of my big customers was Pepsi. And so I was able to go to their manufacturing plants. It actually wasn't Pepsi's manufacturing plants, but it's the companies that provided the cans, bottles, labels. And so I just helped them to keep a consistent profile as far as their image for all their packaging. And and so my my connection to the clan is that my mother is a Marjoribanks. And growing up, I really didn't do, also I lived in Atlanta, so I didn't get to do as much with my grandfather's family as I would like to. And but I feel fortunate that recently my mother introduced me to Caroline, and then Caroline to Carol, and they've just been a wealth of knowledge. So as far as like something that I want to gain from this society, it's not only have they helped me so much, but I'm meeting family and making friends as well. And as far as my key role, so it's mainly to keep the financial records for the society. I've also been helping with the Scottish Games tent, and then also helped with the tartan order, which I actually do have an email out to Jay Wilson to get all of the to figure out where that all stands. But I talked to Carol, and she said that she has received her material, but I know that I haven't received my tailored items, and so that's something that that I will be following up with, and that's about it.
Is that something that was done as part of the clan society, that tartan order, or was it done separately amongst the family in Greenville?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Is that part of the family of Greenville, or was that part of the association ordering the tartan?
Oh, it was it was through as far as like how they paid for it, they are paying they're paying Jay Wilson, his company. So it's not like we collected the money and then put it out. So it's going directly through them. But I helped with Jay Gresham, who's on this call. Whenever he was ordering tartan, I just added some of ours onto his.
Oh, I see. Okay, so sort of a facilitation rather than it wasn't done. It wasn't sort of sold as part of a society thing then.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. John or Dad. I'm not sure what to say there. It feels weird. Would you like to talk about
Okay,
yourself?
thank you, Rachel. My name is John Marjoribanks. I'm the younger brother of the chief. I developed an interest in Marjoribanks family history, genealogy, and heraldry as a teenager because my dad, William Marjoribanks, whose portrait you can see behind me, was at that time busy preparing a petition to the Lord Lion to reinstate the ancient office, if you like, of Chief of Clan Marjoribanks, which had lain unclaimed officially since 1673. As you can imagine, it's quite a complicated process. I was fascinated by this and got as involved as I could. And Dad, as a quid pro quo, helped me register my own coat of arms as what they call in heraldic terms a cadet of the chief, i.e. a younger brother or a younger son. And in 1965, I obtained my own coat of arms and have been absolutely fascinated by heraldry ever since. In terms of life and career, I did a degree in agriculture and worked in the agricultural industry back home in Scotland for 8 years, then got itchy feet and went back to Africa. I say back to Africa because our father, the chiefs, and my father, William, worked in Africa for many years, and both of us had our very early years in Africa. So I went back to Africa at the age of 28, and there I met my wife, who's sitting next to me, who was nursing in a little bush hospital in Zambia. And over the years, I've worked in various countries in Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Swaziland, and in India, finally coming back to the UK after about 25 years or so working overseas. By that time, married to Andrea with 3 children, Rachel the eldest, and Charlotte, who's also here tonight, I think, and Alexander. My father, William, was instrumental in getting the society going not long after he had been acknowledged as chief and invited to join the Standing Council of Scottish Chiefs. And indeed, the society started up, can't remember when, but it's back in the 80s sometime, I think. And since then, I've been involved in it and have recently, or over several years, had the role of treasurer in the UK, which has been very quiescent, nothing much happening at all. And genealogist, I took over from Roger Marjoribanks, who was a real powerhouse. He was a proper historian, knew what he was doing, and excellent at research and so on. Over the last 20 years, I've also been doing research for the Clan Logan Society. Our grandmother was a Logan, Molly Logan, and I got interested in the Logans because they don't have a chief, and they find it. The Clan Logan Society is an American society, basically, but it has members all over the place, and they found it very disconcerting that there wasn't a chief. They found it a disadvantage at all the Highland Games that you have in America. So I was helping them to try and search for a chief. The last chief, like the last Marjoribanks chief, registered arms in the 1670s, and the last known chief died in 1802, and the Logans have signally failed to find a chief. Dig and search as we might, we could not find anyone who could prove to the Lord Lion that they were descended from the last chief. So now they're going down the route of what they call a Derfline or family convention, in which the Lord Lion's office appoints a clan commander, a worthy person within the clan, who can lead the clan while the search for a chief is completely exhausted, and then Lord Lion will accept the most suitable person. Thank goodness William Marjoribanks, my father, took the trouble to register arms and be recognized as chief, and later to register supporters, which are the figures on either side of the arms that kind of hold it up, and having supporters allowed him to be invited to join the Standing Council of Scottish Chiefs. If he hadn't done that, we'd have found ourselves in the same situation as the Logans, finding it difficult to hold our heads up and have a chief. So well done to William, and long may it continue that we continue to have a chief. I would like to develop the role of genealogist, and I would certainly encourage all members, whether they think I might know the answer or not, to email me. I've got a nice easy address, john@marjoribanks.com, to email me if they've got any queries about anything, and that'll encourage me to delve more deeply into all the aspects of family history. Okay, that's me.
Thank you. Do we have Robin?
Rachel, if I may, I talked to Robin shortly before our meeting, and she sends her regrets. She's heavily involved in some political activities here in Greenville, but she did ask that we send out a second reminder of membership and dues. So if we all agree to that, I'll send another reminder out for membership and dues to the database that we have.
Okay. Just out of interest, how do you collect membership money or membership dues in the US side? Do people set up standing orders to a bank account, or?
Kimberley can speak to that. She's our treasurer.
So it comes to me, and it's usually by check. And there's an account that both Caroline and I have access to, and I deposit the checks into that account, and then I send on to Robin and Caroline. I send them who paid their fees, and then they send out a card and a note,
A welcome card.
a welcome card.
Okay.
May I say something, Madam Chairman?
You may.
It was on the question of the mailing lists. I've been poking around and finding mailing lists, and I've got lots of different sources of names and addresses. I know that the first Jews reminder you sent out in America went out to over 100 email addresses, which is more than I've got. But I also found an old address list among my papers in hard copy, and there is the Bill Jackson's groups IO list. There's Katie Lachley's Facebook list, Stuart's Marjoribanks letter mailing list, and I wondered if we should get together and centralize these lists so we weed out duplicates and deceased persons and so on, and try and update it and keep it properly on an international basis, subdivided into the various countries where we operate. So that's something I would suggest to my fellow treasurers and membership people, to get together and make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, so to speak.
So I'd like to speak on that, because a while back I did, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I did consolidate some lists. And so I have kept that list current for myself. And I know that Stuart has used that list in the past as well. And then, and I'm happy to, to provide that, or if you want me to take whatever list and to add it to this one, just to make sure that they're not duplicates. But I have found that working with Bill's list, which I have as well, with this consolidation, is that sometimes in order to join his group, you have to accept the email, and sometimes it goes directly to spam. So if somebody can help research that, I mean, it's a good database. But I agree with you that there's something.
Is that the Marjoribanks IO one?
I'm sorry.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, that is yes. I'm sorry. So just to let you know, I wear hearing aids, and my batteries are dead, and I can't hear.
Well, join the club. I've got hearing aids too.
So I'm having trouble. But yeah. So that is the IO, Bill Jackson's database.
Well, I would be very grateful if you could share what you've got with me, and then I will share whatever I can produce with you, and that way we'll make sure that we're not duplicating and we're consolidating and keeping it up to date. And then I think if we had a master list, that would be very helpful.
I agree. I agree. And so I'd be happy to do that after this meeting.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Okay, so Dad, you're going to send your lists to Kimberley, and I
I
know
will
Stuart,
send
you
whatever
gave
I've
me
got
one
to
list.
Kimberley, and if she sends what she's got to me, then we can make sure we're in line.
And then you'll get it to me. And
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And maybe if you could see me too, that would be helpful.
Yes, certainly.
Okay.
I think it's probably worth having one person who's sort of in charge of the lists.
As you
I mean,
know,
Seems to be the most efficient.
yeah, lists don't stay the same forever. People move and people die and people change their addresses, and so it does take a bit of work to keep that thing up.
Yes. Perhaps if Rachel, you're right, if I may say something, Kimberley seems to be the most efficient, but I would be happy to be a contributor to the process, if you like. Make sure that, and Stuart does thumbs up to do the same thing. We can feed into it.
That sounds great.
Kimberley.
Okay, right. So Kimberley's in charge, and then
That's which is fine. And I mean, I'd really like to, which I've just never really used Google, the share Google thing. And but you know, if somebody knows how to do that, that might be an option as well.
yeah. Okay. Do we have Carol on the call?
I'm here.
So Carol,
Can
you sent me an email. Thank you. Would you like to go through the information about yourself there?
Sure, I'm Carol Leake, and my grandmother was a Marjoribanks, and the Marjoribanks family has always been very special to me. I was raised up right on Marjoribanks ancestral land at the foot of Paris Mountain, and attended all my life Reedy River Baptist Church, which is where my grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents all attended church at on my Marjoribanks side, and very many of my friends and neighbors are all Marjoribanks relatives. And my family was always very much aware of our ancestry. And I was always very interested in history, family history, and I knew where all the cemeteries were. And but in about in the year 2000, Caroline and I met. We kind of knew who each other were, but we were attending some organizations together. And one of them was the Greenville chapter of the South Carolina Genealogical Society. And along with our cousin Mary Drawdy, we became aware the internet was sort of a new thing for doing research. And so we became aware of the Marjoribanks International family. And in 2004, we were invited to attend the Marjoribanks family gathering. It was held in Berwick-upon-Tweed that year. And Robert Marjoribanks from Canada sent us invitations, and we were very excited to travel to attend the meetings. So I served as treasurer U.S. and Canada for about 20 years almost. And during that time, I received a lot of information from people. They would send me their genealogies, maybe letters from their ancestors, pictures of their ancestors. And somehow over many years of having Marjoribanks gatherings and church homecomings and so forth, I have become the receptacle of all of these pieces of history. And so I have, for instance, the family research files of Jim McDonald, who was one of our more respected researchers here in the U.S., Julia Woodson, and my aunt Hazel Addis. I have had those for years in my office. I worked for many years and had an insurance agency in Greenville, and that was somewhere where people could come and do research. We would pull out the archives and pull out everything and go through it. Well, I retired. I no longer have that, but everything is boxed up in archival type storage. I would like to see if anybody has any ideas for maybe cataloging, indexing, and ways that we could maybe share what we have in our archives with one another. So if anybody wants to be thinking about that, I am retired, but I do have a very busy schedule. I have a husband of 44 years. We have 2 sons, 9 grandchildren, and business ventures, but I do want to devote what time I can to this project, but I do need some help with it. So if anyone has some good ideas for that, I would like to hear them.
Well, and I'm going to speak to that because that was actually going to be one of my recommendations. So I'm happy to work with you on that.
That sounds like a perfect thing to talk about when we have the discussion at the end about what we get out of this and what we bring into it. So thank you very much, Carol. Jonathan.
I think Jonathan is probably not there, unless he speaks up.
Or is he
Just about to leave to go to South America.
All right. He's just running a recorder, isn't he?
Yes, he set it up to record it, so he may not be there in the moment.
Right. Okay. No, I don't think he is. And James Green, the third. It doesn't look like it. No. Okay.
Okay.
So that's everybody who's on the council. We have an empty seat at the moment, newsletter editor, which Stuart has done for many years, but wants to hand it over. So that's one to bear in mind, is that we're looking for someone to run the newsletter. If we move on just now, so this is the last in my slide pack, to what I'd like to understand is what you wish to get out of being a member of the society, what you'd like to put in, and then the other one is preferred means of communication, which kind of ties down to the mailing lists, Facebook, all those kind of things. Any kind of subjects of interest that members could research or would like to be researched, which I think probably ties in quite well with Carol, your side of things, and then ideas for finding more people with a connection to the clan so we can grow membership. So I will open to the floor if you'd just like to. I'm not sure in Zoom if you're able to put your hand up if you want to say something or just speak up.
So I'd like to just, this is Kimberley. I would like to just add on to what Carol was saying. So in my mind, because I feel that I have so many proofs or that the whole family could use if they're, within my line, that I would love to share. And so if there's a way that we can create a like a digital database that to where we can share that information, because sometimes having another set of eyes, they might discover something that you didn't even see, even though it's proof that you have. So that is something I would like to help with, is to create a database.
So is that a database of essentially documents that you hold? I wasn't sure what you said there. Was it proofs?
So I did some research because I'm a descendant of Stephen Perry Marjoribanks within the U.S. And so there's so many Stevens and Williams and I can't remember all the names, but it was hard for me to kind of figure out who was who within the proofs. And I have kind of cleaned that up. So I have the digital files, and I would like to share that with with the family for their own research. And so maybe if because they're my own files, I mean, I don't know if it's something we can load up to the website, if it's something, I don't know enough about the database itself. It's just an idea.
Madam Chairman, I think that's a superb idea. anything that would help people who are interested in genealogy to get to the right, reliable information is a good thing. I like you, I'm not sure how best we could do it. Maybe we need to do a bit of creative thinking. I've got in the cupboard just behind me here about 1.5 yards of shelf space devoted to Marjoribanks documents of one kind or another. I know my brother has a whole lot of Marjoribanks documents as well in his study. It would be nice if we could find some way of sorting it all out and making everything available to anyone who wants. But we need a really good archivist to do all that.
I agree. Well, and
It also would all need scanning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm a member of the PACE Society here in the United States, and I cannot get over how much information that they have shared, and they do it on their website, and it's, you know, it's land grants and wills and Bibles, and I mean, and they just do it on their website. It's not something that you can easily search. They just have it by the individual's names, but it's something we could, you know, potentially ask them how they did it, if that's how we want to go down you know, if that's the avenue we choose.
Well, if they've done it and they've been successful, then yeah, that would definitely be a good idea to ask them.
Yeah.
Is that someone, would you be able to contact them?
Would you contact?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to follow that up too. I've got pages and pages of early Marjoribanks wills and stuff that I've downloaded from National Archives, and I would be happy to make them available on the website. Maybe Jonathan could work with us to find a way of getting that more widely available.
And
What I'll do then is
while we're talking about the
Sorry,
website, another thing I thought about was also putting the Marjoribanks application form on the website that people can download.
Good idea.
So I'll try and get a hold of Jonathan, who Stuart, Patricia, correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's probably the person who knows most about how these things work in the group, and see if he's got any ideas for how we can get it once it's digitized, or take the digitized information and get that onto the website.
I would say that's correct, Rachel, but Jonathan and Joanna are going to a conference in Mexico, and then they intend to travel around the world. So they're the best people to contact. I'm sure if he was able, if he had time, he would be a good person, but I'm afraid not at the moment.
Well, I mean, we're not in this. This doesn't have to happen tomorrow or anything like that. So I think we've got time to work out how to do it, and then get it uploaded. So I'll let him know that we're going to ask him the question, and then when he's finished his trip, we can discuss it, I think.
May I make an input about what I wish to get out of it and what I'd like to put in? Yes?
Yep.
From 1992 to 1998, we published 5 separate issues of the Marjoribanks Journal. The man behind it was Roger Marjoribanks. Since Roger's unfortunate death in the early 21st century, there's been nothing published of these longer articles. He's published 1 or 2 articles in various other journals, and I wondered if there would be any appetite in the society for reviving that journal, so that there is a place where different branches of the family can get published longer articles of looking at areas of Marjoribanks history that are of particular interest to them. And if so, whether we could find somebody who is willing to take up the mantle that Roger Marjoribanks so ably sustained of running that publication.
I wonder if we could keep it all together in one place. So if it's all on the website, we could have essentially a journal section so people can go and get those longer articles, and then a newsletter which keeps on top of current things that are happening so there's the sort of the historical side of it, and then there's the current news side of it, and then the membership side of it, because then people are always going to one place to get all of this information.
That sounds good to me. It just needs somebody to control access to, feeding articles into the website and how we access them and so on. Then Jonathan would be man to tell us about that.
I'll speak to Jonathan. I'm not sure he wants to do that, but it may be helpful in terms of explaining how to do it.
Yeah.
And then it's something I could take on. So basically carrying on with the historical journal type documents.
That would tie into your fourth point. They're subjects of interest that members could research and present. For example, I did a thing on Marjoribanks heraldry, and Stuart did a thing on the DNA, Marjoribanks DNA project. These things would be worthy journal articles, and they could just be published on the website. In a journal section. I think now more and more nowadays we don't want any paper publications. We just do it all electronically.
And I think also by having somewhere that people can go for information rather than relying on it being sent to email addresses, we reduce the risk of losing track of people as email addresses change and so on. Okay. Just on the communication side of things, does email work for everybody? Is there anybody who'd prefer a different way of being contacted about what's happening?
I prefer email.
Email for me.
Email.
Yeah, definitely email.
Okay.
Yeah. Email's good for me.
May I just say one thing there, though? It would maybe be useful to just put a little prompt to say, please don't reply all occasionally. Just sometimes my inbox can get, I don't know about anyone else, rather full of replies from people.
Agreed. I think it's probably worth speaking to Bill about that, because I have a funny feeling that's a function of the IO list.
Oh, okay, right.
Yes, it's a choice that you can make, and if you don't make it, of course, it doesn't happen. But if you select reply all, everybody's going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any subjects of interest that anyone on the call is particularly keen that we look into? Any particular members of the family or events or places? Okay, so we're in a sort of tidying phase at the moment. And the other one then is sort of the advertising ourselves, ideas for finding more people with a connection to the clan. Has anyone on here thought of ways that we can sort of get ourselves out there?
I think by being more as active as we can and showing that there's a benefit in getting involved. If the society gets a bit moribund, then people aren't involved. Like your group in Greenville is very active, and I think you're getting quite a lot of interest. Whereas in the UK we've been less active, and therefore we haven't been getting much interest on this side of the Atlantic. But maybe by being active and showing that we've got something worthwhile, then and by the process of updating our potential mailing list, we should be able to get more people in. It does raise a question that struck me. Excuse me. If anyone can get access to the website and all the information on it, then there's no particular advantage in paying a membership subscription unless there's something else that's useful. One of the things that some organizations have is a members area on the website, which you have to register, and you can only get in there if you're a paid up member in good standing. So that to access all the old journal articles and past Marjoribanks letters and so on, you would have to have paid your subscription. I think that's maybe an idea worth exploring.
I think that's a great idea.
And I agree, it's a great idea.
I agree. I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Right. I think that's probably the thing we need to concentrate on most then over the next year is looking at the membership and keeping track of the membership side of things, and then developing the website. So that's the two things I'm taking away from this. I think that's probably enough for us all to keep us busy. Is there anything else that anyone would like to discuss? Any other ideas?
So this is Kimberly, and I created my own websites, and so I'm familiar with doing it, but I also used a program to do it. So, you know, I know that Jonathan is traveling. I mean, I would be happy to try to help figure out a way to, you know, to have some of these documents on the website and to you know, create a site for members only. But I would need to obviously talk to Jonathan because I don't know what kind of program the website's in. I'm just volunteering my time.
That would be fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. If there's nothing else that anyone wants to bring up, we'll bring it to a close there. So thank you very much everybody for joining. I don't think we've set the date for the next one, but it'll be in October. So we'll get the invite out in time for that. And you'll probably all be getting various emails checking that your email address is still current to past and present email addresses. And obviously I've taken notes and we've got the minutes. There's a few people there who've taken actions. What I'll do is I'll tie in with those people individually or as smaller groups to take this forward.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll raise a glass of malt whiskey and wish you good health.
Jolly good. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Rachel. Well done. Yeah.
Okay. Speak to you soon then. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, Johnny.
Cheers, Andy. Well done on the tap Loch Ness.
Yeah, great fun. Yeah. You probably noticed I've got a winter beard on just now.
Yes. You grew that for your ski trip. I was very impressed at all this skiing and cycling and so on. You put your younger brother to shame.
Anyway, all the best. Thank you very much indeed, Rachel. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.